Good morning, ladies, and thank you for joining us in Fire Above Rubies today. If no one's told you recently, you are loved, and you are valuable, and your price is far above rubies. Today we're diving into Proverbs chapter 21, and I'm focusing on verses 9 and 19. I find these passages super humorous, and I kind of have this vision of Solomon writing in his study these incredible words of wisdom to his son, and being visited occasionally and interrupted occasionally by his angry and contentious wife, and that's where we get these passages. Verse 9 reads, "It's better to dwell in the corner of a rooftop than to share a house with a contentious woman." And verse 19 reads that it's better to dwell in the wilderness than with a contentious or angry woman. Now, contentious simply means that you are prone to arguing or provoking an argument, that you're spoiling for a fight. And Solomon's always been revered as one of the wisest men who's ever lived, and we can see why in these passages, because he's figured out many years ago that it is impossible to live with a woman who only wants to fight, who's spoiling for a fight, who's looking to get her husband's attention by provoking an argument. Now, we can all feel like, oh, I don't do that. That's not me. But if you're a strong-willed woman like I am, if you are a demonstrative spirit like I have, you have to be honest. If your spirit isn't just right with God, you find yourself being snarky. You find yourself, when you start hearing yourself say things like, well, you could have just, or I really wish you would have just, or, you should do things just like this. If you would do things like that, this wouldn't have happened. You are itching for a fight. You are provoking your husband, or anyone for that matter, when you start getting into the would've, should've, could've in a conversation. It's not necessary. I don't want to be this woman. We have to check our spirits, ladies. Our words are not an issue when our spirits are right with God. You're not going to get up from time spent in your prayer closet or time spent knelt at the foot of the cross and be in a snarky spirit. It's not going to happen. When you have brought your flesh under submission through time in His Word, in God's Word, through time in His presence, you're not going to have this spiteful, sassy, mouthy attitude. And I am a bad offender about it. I know when my mouth starts becoming a problem that my spirit is not right, and I have not spent enough time talking with the Lord that day. We need to be the woman that we just recently talked about in Proverbs, whose words are as pleasant as a honeycomb and sweet to the soul. Colossians 4:6 says, "Let your speech be always with grace and seasoned with salt, that you would know how to speak to every man." And we can talk about salt in a later on passage, but salt in the Bible is referred to as something that brings out the best in a situation, something that is so versatile and can cover a multitude of sins, so to speak. I want my home to be a safe haven for my husband. I want him to hate going to work in the morning because he loves the peaceful, joyful spirit of our home. I want him to be sad to leave out of our house. I want him to feel relieved when he walks through the door of my home. I want him to look forward to coming and being in my company, in my presence, and not have to take a deep breath and hold his breath when he walks through the door because he doesn't know what he's going to meet. Your challenges today are to read Proverbs chapter 21. Share something below that spoke out to you. And then spend some time with the Lord today. Ask Him to examine your heart and to remove any contentious spirit or attitude from within you. And if this is something you have to do daily, then do it. If it's something you have to do daily, to bring your flesh under submission to God's Spirit and to say, God, I want to be a Proverbs kind of woman. I want to be a Proverbs 31 kind of woman, and we're going to get there. I'm excited to get to that chapter. Spend some time with the Lord. Ask Him to help you. Ask Him to help you control your spirit and your attitude so that you are not that contentious woman that is impossible to live with. I love you all. You have a couple of great guest speakers coming to you tomorrow and the next day. I'm excited to hear them. Make sure you comment and let them know how much we're enjoying our guest speakers. And I will see you all in a few days. My family and I are going to be traveling over the next 10 days. I appreciate your prayers for safe travels, but I will be coming back to you on Sunday morning or afternoon. Have a great weekend, ladies.